I have the privilege of serving as a medical missionary at Kijabe Hospital. Like everywhere in the world, there's not enough ENT surgeons to service the population, but the lack is particularly evident here in Kenya. I think the hardest part of my job is being surrounded by so much need, wanting to help, but be constrained by our lack of resources. Welcome to Kenya here. My name's Bryce. I'm an ENT surgeon. About 1 year ago, my family and I moved from Ohio to here in Kijabe, Kenya. I'm part of the Samaritan's Purse post-residency program, a program designed to move doctors from residency to the mission field. We live in Kenya, which is a East African country with 53 million people, about 43 different tribes, and many more languages than that. We are an hour north of Nairobi, which is a bustling, pretty modern city, one of the largest in East Africa. We live on the side of a mountain overlooking the Great Rift Valley. The surrounding communities rely on growing corn, raising cows, goats, and sheep, or selling things in a lot of small shops that surround the hospital. The hospital was started as a missionary health clinic about 115 years ago, and it's grown substantially since that time. It was turned over to the African Inland Church, so it's fully run by Kenyans at this point. The ENT department was founded about 15 years ago, and it's grown substantially since it was founded as well. We have clinic every day. I usually staff the clinic 1 or 2 days a week, and then the remainder of my time is spent in the operating room, or the theater as we call it here. There are about 12 missionary doctors at the hospital, and then many more Kenyan doctors that keep the place going. We have a lot of training programs, including a surgical training program. These trainees are handpicked out of hundreds of applicants. They come from all over Africa. And the goal with these trainees is to send them back out to their home country or even a different country as missionaries in Africa. I think the most rewarding part of my job is empowering these strong Christian surgeons with the knowledge they need to go out and spread the love of Christ by giving excellent healthcare in places that I will never be able to go myself. A major project that I've recently undertaken is a revamping of the hospital surgery scheduling system. When we started this project, we estimated that about 50% of patients that were initially signed up for surgery at Kijabe never actually got their surgery. Now, no one was assigned to keep track of these patients or figure out what was happening, so we really don't know why. But for this reason, the hospital leadership asked me to make a surgery scheduling app. I met with all the surgery schedulers, all the surgery departments, the head of IT, the head of finance, and we all got together and made this app using the Microsoft Cloud system that the hospital already had. I'm really hoping this app allows us to keep track of patients better, utilize our resources better in theater, manage our time with the anesthesia providers and the OR rooms. But more importantly, I hope we can keep track of patients, not lose them, show them the compassionate care and the timely care that they deserve. My surgical practice since moving to Kenya has definitely expanded. With fewer ENTs in the country, definitely fewer subspecialized ENTs in the country. Most patients have been to quite a few hospitals before they get to me. And that means diseases like cancer are harder to treat because the tumors are larger, they're more difficult to resect and to reconstruct. And that really adds to the difficulty of providing healthcare in such a resource-limited setting. Ear surgery is another particularly specialized area of my practice. There are very few ear surgeons in the country. In fact, I've seen patients traveling from Ethiopia, Uganda, Somalia, Rwanda, even Burundi to get ear surgery here at Kijabe. And I know a few of these patients have been fundraising for years from their community and family and friends to be able to travel here to Kijabe, just hoping that we'll be able to help them. It's really a blessing to be kind of a part of the end of such a long journey for them seeking ear surgery. Since starting at Kijabe Hospital, I've been a part of over 500 surgeries, many of which could not have happened anywhere else in the country. It's such a blessing to be part of God's work here in such a tangible way. Being a doctor in Kenya is hard, not just for me, but for all the doctors here, because of our lack of resources. It's just heart-wrenching to see a patient in your clinic, know that you would be able to help them, but a critical piece of hospital equipment is broken, critical supply is lacking, or the wait list is simply too long. Because of this, most Kenyan doctors work in private clinics where they have more control over the resources available and they can take better care of patients. The government hospitals are just understaffed, underfunded. The wait list is 6 months long for even basic procedures. It's just not an easy place to work. Private clinics offer fewer roadblocks, fewer headaches, and better patient care. The problem is that patients have to have private insurance to be seen at those places. Even at the National Hospital, the premier medical college in the country, the faculty spend most of their time at private clinics, and that leaves the patients with really long waits, and it leaves the surgical residents with a lack of mentorship and just not enough case volume to get adequately trained. And that just further perpetuates the problem of not enough ENT doctors in the country. Over the past few months, I've seen numerous cancer patients that were actually diagnosed at the National Hospital, but then sent out because the wait list was too long for them to receive their care. And then we have to scramble to try and get their surgery in quickly since they've already been waiting so long. That makes Kijabe Hospital a vital component of the healthcare system in Kenya, which is concerning on many levels, but it is comforting to know that God is really using this place in a vital way to serve the patients of Kenya, and it is a real honor to be a part of that. My family is adjusting really well to life in Kenya. Henry recently started up at the Rift Valley Academy in kindergarten, and Owen has started in preschool a few days a week. In fact, Mary Beth is leading that preschool co-op group, so we spent a Saturday kind of setting up the classroom and gathering all the supplies from around campus, and she's really excited to be leading that group, although it has turned into quite a bit of work with how many kids are there and just wrangling that many preschool age kids in one room. Our ENT department now has a weekly Bible study where we're walking through the book of James together. It's been a real blessing to hear from my Kenyan colleagues their different perspective on the book of James. We all have a lot to learn from each other, from our different cultural backgrounds, and how the Bible is living and breathing and has something to say to all people from every culture. I know in our last video we spoke about the historic drought in Kenya, and the rainy season did come. Things are definitely much greener here. People's spirits are generally lifted, but there's still some apprehension that the rains weren't enough to fully restore the water table, and worse things are coming during the dry season this year. The surrounding villages, all those people rely on water for their crops, their livestock, their livelihood. They have to spend a large portion of their day filling up buckets of water from the stream or the local water source to take to their house. And I know they, even more than us, are apprehensive about what the future holds this coming dry season. The economic situation in Kenya continues to deteriorate as well. The taxes have been increased. The shilling continues to drop in value. Fuel has now gone over 200 shillings a liter, and that has left a lot of people very angry. And in fact, a lot of people aren't driving anymore. Even people that own cars would rather use the public transportation to save on fuel cost. there's been a lot of unrest about all this, and it's actually threatening to get violent. So that's another area where you can continue to pray for Kenya. All right, thanks for watching. Hope this video was interesting. Hope you learned a few things about what our lives look like here, what our work looks like at the hospital. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave them on our YouTube channel or over at kenyahere.org. We would love to interact with you there as well. We like building our virtual community here. We are looking forward to our trip home in December, where we hope to meet with a lot of you, and we can certainly talk more about our work then. So, until next time.
Daddy, I found a snail. It's alive. Okay, give it back to me, Daddy. It might try to attack. Daddy, it's already trying to attack.